Hi guys. Okay, here we go again with chapter 2. Chapter 2 is the biology and behavior of our brain. We're going to talk about the nervous system. We're going to talk about different studies and scans that we have on our brain, age, gender in the brain, and the way that we're thinking. So with our brain, we have different scans that we can do in order to check the levels or how we're functioning, if there's a tumor in there, or if there's cloudiness in there. So we have our EEG, which is your electrical activity detected by electrodes placed on the scalp of your head. So with this one, it reads how your brain is registering and makes sure everything is flowing the way that it's supposed to. We have our CT scans. So your CT scans is a rotating computerized X-ray tube. So you go in, it's like whoa, 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 but this one's the open one. This produces cross-sectional images of the brain. So this will show your bones, blood vessels, soft tissue inside your body, and it uses iodine. So if you have with contrast, that's the iodine. So if you're allergic to shellfish, anything like that, you can't have iodine because you can have an allergic reaction to it. The iodine is a highlighting agent, so it can highlight certain areas of your brain or whatever body part that you're doing it on in order to get a clearer picture of your blood vessels and blood flow. Your second one is your MRI, which produces clearer, more detailed images without exposure to X-ray scans, so the electrics. Can't talk. So this can be used to find abnormalities in the central nervous system in the brain. So this uses gadolinium as a highlighting agent. So gadolinium is, you don't really have any allergies to it. It's injected in your body. Once they inject it, it might feel like you pissed yourself, but you didn't. It just feels that way. And it's another highlighting agent to look a little bit better about nerves and abnormalities in your central nervous system. We have our PET scans. PET scans are normally seen for our cancer patients to see if there's any cancerous cells in the body. So what happens is the glucose-based isotopes gets injected inside your body. You'll sit in a nice cold room for about 45 minutes or so to let that isotope go throughout your system. And the actual scan itself is only about 30 minutes. But what that isotope does is it clings to any cancerous cells that are in your body and it highlights it. So a person that may have cancer, it might look like they have fireworks in their body because of all the cancerous cells that they might see. With this, we can also use it as brain activity to see how it's functioning or malfunctioning. If you have Alzheimer's, dementia, schizophrenics, anything like that, even depression will show up on your PET scan. Functional MRIs, you don't see it as often as a regular PET scan. This is due to the cost, and normally insurances don't cover it. But this doesn't need any injection, so you're not radioactive whatsoever, any other materials. It provides images of both the brain structures and brain activity. And the advantages of our PET scan is it detects changes that take place in these in a second, less than a second. So it's compared with about a minute for PET scans. For the neurons and neurotransmitters, your neurons are specialized cells that conduct impulses throughout the nervous system. So it's continuous, boom, boom, and it connects to one another. Your neurotransmitters specialize chemicals that facilitate or inhibit the transmission of impulses from the neurons to the next. So the little legs on the neurons, it goes and it sucks in and it goes into the other neuron. So then it goes throughout your whole body that way. So most neurons are made up of 3 different parts. You have your cell body, which contains your nucleus and carries out the metabolic functions of a neuron. You have your dendrites, which are the primary receivers of signals from the other neurons. You have your axon, which is your long, slender-like tail that extensions to the neurons. This sprouts into different branches at the end, so it connects, the bulbous axon terminal connects to the other neuron, and it will be able to connect and transmit the same receivers to the other neuron. You guys had your chapter 2 discussion post on that one. Your axon terminals are bulbous ends of the axon where signals move from the axon from one neuron to the dendrites of the cell body of another. Glial cells are located in the brain and spinal cord. This is like cleaning up your waste, or it removes waste products from your cells. It performs other other functions as nourishing and cleanup tasks throughout the cell. We have our all or none law. So think of a gun. So your gun has different components with everything. You have your trigger, you have your barrel, and then you have your component where you actually put your bullet in. So with this, if none of the parts are working, so say the barrel is clogged or it's still dirty that it won't shoot straight, that can actually cause a backfire, so it doesn't work at all. So like a gun, all components have to be ready to make the gun to expel the bullet and for it to work. So you pull it and it shoots. And normally there's a refractory period where it's a short resting period in order to regain the momentum. So say you have to reload your bullet in your gun. This is your refractory period. You pull the trigger and it shoots again. So vice versa, it keeps on going. That is as your neurons are. Your myelin cells is a white fatty coating on some of the axons. So this makes action potential travel up to 100 times faster. Your nodes of Rainbow are gaps within the myelin cells itself. Its neural impulses is regenerated at each node. You have a chart on slide, what slide is this? 98. It's figure 2.4 in your book, and it's our chart of the nervous system. With our nervous system, we have two different umbrellas. We have our peripheral nervous system and our central nervous system. Our peripheral nervous system over here carries information to send it to the central nervous system, which is over here. Your central nervous system is comprised of your brain and your actual spinal cord. Your peripheral nervous system carries out the information to your brain and spinal cord. So your somatic nervous system underneath your peripheral controls your skeletal muscles, interacts with the external environment, and this is your somatic nervous system. Your somatic nervous system controls your skeletal muscles. With your atomic nervous system, this regulates your body's internal environment, including your organs, glands, and your blood vessels. Under your atomic, it again branches down underneath it. You have your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system prepares your body for action. So think of your fight or flight mechanisms. We increase our adrenaline, our sweating kind of goes up, your pupils dilate a little bit more, your heart pounds and races so fast. So this is your sympathetic nervous system. Your parasympathetic nervous system, after that event goes away, then our body's like, whoo, it regulates us back into a normal balance or homeostasis. So your sympathetic is your fight or flight. Your parasympathetic is when you actually go back to normal homeostasis within your body. So you might want to highlight somatic nervous system on that chart because it's one of your big ones. With your brain, so structures control vital functions within your brain. So we're going to be watching a video on Phineas Gage, which I know you guys couldn't watch over the weekend because none of my stuff actually uploaded like it was supposed to. So now I'm re-recording a zillion different videos for you guys, which is so much fun. So your structures control your vital functions. Your brainstem begins at the site where the spinal cord enlarges and enters into the skull. So when you have an injury right here, that's what usually can kill you or make you paralyzed. It's very important that you don't do that. Your hindbrain is a link between the spinal cord and the brain that contains structures that regulate the physiological functions, including your heart rate, your respiration, and your blood pressure. Your medulla controls your heartbeat, blood pressure, breathing, coughing, and swallowing. Your reticular formation plays a crucial role in arousal and attention. Your cerebellum helps the body to execute smooth, skilled movements, which you're going to want to know this for your Phineas Gage. Your forebrain is your largest part of your brain. So with Phineas Gage, you might know that your forebrain was affected, and this includes your memory, logic, and self-awareness. Your thalamus relays station for information flowing in and out of your brain. One that you need to know for your quiz is your hypothalamus. This regulates your thirst, your hunger, your sexual behavior, your body temperature, and the variety of emotional behaviors. As we watched in class last week, we had the alcohol video. Your hypothalamus is actually affected by this. So when you drink alcohol, it actually cools your body down. So that's why we get super duper cold when we get really drunk. We're like, oh, I just need a blanket to cover up. Or you get super hungry when you drink too much booze, or if you smoke too much weed. This is a part of your brain that is actually affected by that. Or you have the people that turn into horn dogs when they're super duper drunk, or just regular issues. Your hypothalamus might be affected, that's causing that. Your limbic system is a group of structures in the brain, including your amygdala, your hippocampus, that are collectively involved in your emotional expressions, memory, and motivation. So if your limbic system is hurt or has damage to it, it can cause your expressions or your motivations or your sympathy or empathy towards others to kind of decrease a little bit. Your amygdala and your hippocampus is part of your limbic system. So these play a crucial role in your emotions, the roles in storing your memory, unexpected stimuli, or negative, I can't talk anymore, or to navigate your abilities. Okay, so closer look at the cerebrum. So your cerebral hemispheres. You have your left and then you have your right. Your right controls your left and your left controls your right. So your corpus callosum connects the two brain hemispheres together. You want to know that for your quiz, is your corpus callosum connects it together. Your cerebral cortex is a thin outer covering of the cerebrum. So it's responsible for higher mental processes of language. So your left side of your hemisphere controls the right side of your body, so it handles most language functions. Your right hemisphere processes music, it controls the left side of your body, it has emotional messages conveyed. There is a video on slide 119. This is about your corpus callosum, which connects the brain hemispheres together. If these hemispheres, as your corpus callosum is actually detached, so you have free floating, it's hard to understand. It doesn't connect your two brains together anymore. So this video that is actually on here is based off of the split brain. So this guy had a lot of seizures, so they split his corpus callosum, they took it out. And so his brain doesn't actually talk to one side or the other. It's actually a really cool video to watch, and I would hope that you watch it. Okay. Okay, your frontal lobes on page 122 on your slides. This is where you'll find your Phineas Gage video. So this is a trick to see if you've actually watched your video. So on page 122 of your slides that are on your files that say chapters 1 and 2, this is where you'll find your Phineas Gage video. Phineas Gage was affected by damage to the frontal lobe, and it caused him to have a different reaction. So you have to watch that. Okay, so I think that is it for chapter 2. Don't hurt your brain. Protect it. See you guys later.